Hi there, Cosmic Family. My name is Jahliali in this incarnation. I am here today to talk about the energies of this next week from June 9th until June 15th. This is the last video that I'm doing always after the others of, the Portuguese and the Spanish channel, and I am a little mixed up of the other languages. So, okay. This week we have the entrance of Jupiter in Cancer, which is accompanied and vice versa of the full moon in Sagittarius. And well, you have the video already there, but this is focused in the expansion of new ways of life. That is Jupiter in Cancer, and the importance of building this growth that we want to see in our experience, very focused in the long term, and understanding that everything is a process. This is not a matter of one day of the transit, and depending on the areas of your life that are being moved and the desires of each soul, this is going to impact in different areas of life, but certainly topics linked with home, family, emotional growth are which influences our connections, and ways of creating home in ourselves are going to be very important. And also because these factors have a great incidence in other areas of the material plane, in the relationship with our own path, in the dynamics with other people, in the relationship with our resources. So we are in the doors, in front of the doors of great opportunities, because Saturn and Neptune are present in here, but also because they are in a square, this presents these initial challenges. And this these challenges have to do with exercising new levels of independency, especially from that is not contributing with our expansion, and to integrate that independence, and at the same time understanding that we are united to everything. That is Neptune. The more that we can elevate our consciousness, we inhabit the experience of union with the divine matrix. So the divine matrix that everything emerges. I am talking about this this term Ein Sof that is used in Kabbalah, the infinite. I'm not talking about the programming or other conceptions of matrix. So in this plane, recognizing the union represents moments of change, moments of construction, moments of destruction, moments of dissolution, learning from the limit, establishing limits, boundaries, contracting energy in areas of life, and expanding that energy in other areas in cycles. So this week we have a little bit of all of this. So it is quite a shaky week. Okay. Well, first of all, today, June 8th, Mercury is going to enter Cancer in a few hours until June 26th. So the way that Mercury in Cancer processes thoughts and communication, it is totally related with emotions. Therefore, it is a transit that could connect us with a greater empathy for the emotions of other people, on how our words are impacting them, how their own experiences have impacted them. It is a transit to establish these intimate conversations, to put in words what we are feeling, resignifying. Also, this is part of the transit of Jupiter in Cancer, resignifying experiences of the past. It could emerge, and it is going to emerge, a lot of memories linked with our childhood, familiar situations, or other aspects of the past. And it is very important, the perception through which we are approaching those situations, because biologically, our perception of circumstances is influencing our inner state, our decisions, and therefore what we are experimenting here in the present moment. In a not that positive sense, this could be a transit where there is this extreme sensibility, these overwhelming emotions regarding situations and words. I'm not referring that we have to invalidate emotions, justify whatever thing, or not having emotional responsibility, but many times our own identifications, our own mental identifications, and the experiences that we went through could make us perceive situations on the outside or words from other people from a distorted place that is impacting our emotional body. So it is just to take in account. And well, tomorrow Mercury, June 9th, Mercury perfects the squares with Saturn and Neptune in Aries. This is going to show us what is about the square with Jupiter. I mean, we start to receive information of how we are going to begin this new process, which challenges we are facing, which familiar patterns we cannot sustain, which kind of spaces that represent something that is known but is creating limitation we have to let go of, the level of determination and leadership in our actions that we need to implement to move forward, the boundaries, again, the boundaries with Saturn that we need to establish. So also could be a moment, the whole week where we are dealing with consequences of processes that we didn't integrate, we haven't integrated totally perhaps in the last squares, because we have to remember that this is a series of 3 squares that happened from August of 2024. It is just that the last 2 happened in Pisces, and with Saturn in Pisces and Jupiter in Gemini. So it doesn't necessarily have to be with bad consequences. Could be also the fruits of labor that you have done. So those videos are still in the reproduction list. I am talking about the other squares. Okay. Tomorrow, June 9th, we also have the square between Venus in Taurus and Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. So this is practically on track the whole week. And therefore, relationships are going to be very moved. I'm going to add some things because in the video of Venus in Taurus, I talked about the shadows of Venus. So it is very important to be aware of, for example, abuse, energetical abuse, or could be real physical material manipulations. And it is very important to recognize that in order for us to establish a dynamic of manipulation, there have to be 2 parties participating. It doesn't matter if we are identifying with the victim or the victimary role. I don't know if I'm inventing that word, but what I'm trying to say it is that I understand totally how we could have references in our lives, traumatic and painful experiences that could set a way of, relating with other people. And we can live those kind of situations, manipulations, and to exercise them because we don't know how to attend our own desires or to communicate our needs. But those experiences every time are an invitation to recognize the part of us that are feeding them. And Pluto in Aquarius represent, sorry, I'm laughing about my own English, represents this will of liberation. But remember that this liberation, it is not only being born from detaching from that person, letting go of that person or that relationship. In some cases, of course, this is going to apply and it is going to be vital, but the true liberation responds to identify the pattern that ends up generating the same painful experiences once and again. So in other perspective, this aspect responds to transform ourselves in a way that we can, stop giving the power to our fears or redirecting that energy, because many times this way of approaching things like cutting, stopping, makes us feel it is difficult to approach, the changing of patterns. But it is about transforming the power that we are giving to the fears at the time that we are creating, at the time that we want, for example, to generate resources in a way that we can really enjoy, at the time that we are feeling valuable to do a contribution to other people or to the world, to transform the things that are pushing us away from that. And it is a transit to recover that power in whatever area we have seated it. Without this means that we have to control, because that is the other polarity of Pluto. And whether this is about situations or people, it is a great energetical drain, sustaining ourselves in the energy of control. So, well, that is going to be important too. Right. On June 10th, we have the trine between Mars in Leo and Chiron in Aries. This is part of the lunation, but I think I don't mention this aspect specifically. So this accompany much of what I was saying a minute ago. This is about cultivating a healthy self-esteem that is not nothing more and nothing less than recognizing that our soul has a light to irradiate, and that light can only be offered by oneself. So this is not about believing that we are superior nor inferior, but recognizing that in this temporary identity, in this individual fragment that we can connect with that divine light, and we can bring that to that plane. That is our function, in fact, with whatever thing we came here to do. Mars and Leo, it is pretty much linked with arts and exposition, but it is whatever thing that you came here to irradiate. And what many times from our egos, from the perspective of our egos, we can see as imperfect or not enough, the Chironian wound, that is truly the form that the soul wanted to take to be who we are at the present moment, and to develop also the potential that we could develop in here. So on June 11th, we have the full moon in Sagittarius. You have the video already there. Mainly, I did an introduction in this same transmission. I'm going to go to June 13th. The Sun in Gemini is creating a square with the North Node in Pisces in the South Node in Virgo. And this transit we experimented the last week with Mercury in Gemini. And now it is doing the Sun. So we are going to feel more this tension, because these crossroads that is presented when we have squares with the karma nodes, or the evolutionary decisions of this phase that perhaps we started to evaluate in the mental plane, or connected with the information or the possibilities the last week. For some people, perhaps last week they took a decision, but what I am trying to say, it is that tensions with the karma nodes always present a certain level of challenge in taking the path that leads us to growth. It is about the integration of what our soul came here to do in this incarnation, our purposes. And there are like very ancient patterns and limitant ones that are also like pushing on the other side. And it is precisely this tension that it is giving us the shot to make the transcendence. And when we talk about the Sun, this touches aspects of our identity, of our vital energy, and pushes us to reveal essence in a new level, because the old ways of being are creating stagnation or bring a lot of discomfort. So I can make a summary of this transit in not to focus in what is correct in agreement to the judgments of the mind or the judgments of other people, but to focus in what feels with the North Node in Pisces correct for the soul, in decisions that are truly being born from love, and many times they are not the most easy ones. And overall, to remember that the mind can many times give a little bit of battle when it is about to move forward to new spaces, because the mind protects us through the doubt, through negative dialogues, or through wanting to control in planification, or wanting to obtain information that we won't obtain unless we give the next step. So, this is mainly this transit. And on June 15th, we have this aspect that it is the last but no least, because we are going to feel it the whole week, and because I'm talking about the square between Mars in Leo and Uranus in Taurus. This happens in the degree 28 with 54 minutes. Just for you to know if you have planets close to this mathematical degree, because this is the last square that we are going to have with a Mars in Leo and a Uranus in Taurus. The next time that they are going to meet with Mars in Leo, Uranus is going to be in Gemini, and they are going to create a harmonic aspect. So this is something that is going to be a little bit shaky, I am feeling. And this is about letting go of what prevents us from being authentic. And we have to understand that authenticity many times is rejected by people. I am saying this because the word authenticity it sounds very, very nice. But many times authenticity represents to detach from aspects that represent this false comfort. I mean, I have established in that or in this or that. This is something that I already know, but at the same time turns off my light. It is stagnating me. It is creating stagnation. So we could talk about relationships. We could talk about forms of generating resources, or could be ways of creating in reality that are being felt like a structure that is very difficult to sustain, and not necessarily because we don't have to sustain that structure anymore, but perhaps we have to change the way that we are approaching that. And this square proposes something different. If this is about a relationship, then we have to take action to change a dynamic. For some people, this could be linked with generating a cut. If it has to do with our passions and creations, this could be linked with implementing new ideas, but that initially could generate certain level of discomfort, and this discomfort of experimenting something new. But everything is about taking action. And what I'm trying to say is that, yeah, this could be to change a perception, but we necessarily have to take action in coherence to establish, to materialize the change. If I always react, other example, if I always react in the same things in that conflict, then effectively I'm going to do something different this time. So this transit is also a moment where life presents experiences that are going to push us, and there could be sudden, there is this quality of a surprise with Uranus. And when we talk about attention, many times this could be linked with something that we don't exactly want, or we do want, but generate certain level of uncertainty, or resistances, fears, etc. But we always, I want to remind you this, we always discover that thanks to those situations, we gave a step that helped us to move the energy, or to reconnect with our passions, with Mars in Leo, with enthusiasm, with our light. So that is very, very important. This is an evolutionary movement, and in the collective level, this activation could bring like terrestrial movements, disruptions in technology, manifestations, collective manifestations, explosions in its lower aspect. This could be radical, violent actions. But in the world that many of us we are deciding to build, I really believe that this is a transit of opportunities and creative ideas, and to understand that the best way to reveal ourselves from structures that are limitant is to create new forms, new re-evolutionary forms of art, of exchanges of exchange of resources, of information, again with Mars and Leo, of whatever thing we came here to do. But all of those changes start with our lives, with ourselves. So this same day, Jupiter in Cancer perfects the square with Saturn in Aries. You have already a video, the full moon in Sagittarius, the video of Jupiter in Cancer. So I'm going to expand on this ahead in the week. Okay, thank you everyone. See you in the next video. Ciao, ciao.